stuff. I used to do these all the time a couple of years ago. So I have to thank JL Patterson for bringing this back to my mind again. But this time I have my guests that I had with me on the show tonight doing the after show with me. So I'm really excited. Alan, wave hi to everybody.
Hey there.
You know, Alan, we just had a great time on the show. We were talking about your new release, Jordan's Arrow, which is part of the Jordan of Algoran series. Had a lot of fun. So I kind of want to tell people a little bit about behind the scenes of you and I doing the show. And one thing I always do before the show, I'm a huge nurturer, you know, like, are you okay? Is everything all right? That's what I do, you know? So, do you think that's irritating or what? What do you think?
No, I think it's good. I think it's a nice thing to do because I mean, it really it shows that you care, and I know that you do. And
Mhm.
so, it's a personal touch, and you run a very personal show, and I think that makes a big difference.
I try to make it personal. I don't ever want to be that person who just takes people's participation for granted. I
Right.
never want to take for granted. That's why I say it every show. And some people may be saying, oh, that's just her saying that. No, it really is true. I don't want to take anyone for granted.
Mhm.
And I always enjoy having you. And you know I enjoy your books. You know I do. And I gotta tell the gang, last time he was on the show, we were on the phone, what, almost 40 minutes
Yeah.
afterwards, just talking
Yeah.
about Jordan's world. And
Sure.
that's how much I really enjoyed it. And I love the world building behind there. And so, yeah, this is our after show. Just kind of give us some thoughts. You know, what are
Yeah.
some things you wish you could have said on the show that maybe I didn't ask you or that you want to get out?
Well, it's really something. One of the things that I really enjoyed about making Jordan's Arrow was really showing uh, Jordan coming into her adulthood, that it was so different. And one of the things we didn't really get a chance to talk about was how the relationships, not just her relationship with her mate, Bhopal, but with her friends, how that matured in the second book. Zaska is a different person in the second book. She's a mom too now, but she's always kind of had Jordan's back in the midst of all this craziness that happens with her. Zaska's always there, and Raybon's always there. So you get this dynamic of this group of four, and I enjoyed taking their friendships to a more mature level.
Yeah. And friends that can grow with you are the ones you hold on to as much as
Mhm.
possible. I know for myself, I take relationships very seriously.
Mhm.
I am what I am into people currency because I think it's the people you know that is better than what you know,
Right.
because the people you know can help you, they can guide you, or they can just inspire you. So I'm really into people currency and I'm really into loyalty. And Zaska in Jordan's Arrow is extremely loyal to Jordan. However, she doesn't give her a break. And I think we need friends like that because
Yeah.
Zaska, it was so funny because Zaska kept hinting at Jordan, hey, are you pregnant? Are you
Right.
pregnant? Like, what are you doing? Why are
Right.
you why are you doing this to me?
Yes. But it also kind of explained a little bit of why she was so, that's one of the things I enjoyed about it too, is there's this really awkward scene early in the book where, basically Zaska's, just basically praising Jordan for how glorious her pregnancy is. Basically there's this friend on the side who I kind of think represents the reader. It's like, what's up with this?
I love it. I love it. And Zaska, she has a really interesting dynamic too. And
Mhm.
I love how you contrast the friendship with Zaska and Jordan with
Mhm.
Erica and Jordan, because that
Yes.
friendship is completely different. It's almost
Completely.
as if Jordan would have been Erica if she did not have the things happen to her in her
Exactly.
life. And
Exactly.
I love that part about her. And I was shocked, and I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but Erica basically made the decision to go with Jordan.
Mhm.
And when that happened, I was like, oh, I mean, I really didn't see it coming until it came. I was like,
Right.
did she just leave? You know,
Right.
that's in the end of not a too big spoiler, but
No,
that's in the end of book one. And
it's okay.
so when she left, I was like, that's gonna happen. Because she
Right.
truly had nothing but Jordan. And there are
Right.
people in our lives that they keep us from going off the edge. And
Yeah.
Jordan was that to her. But Jordan had changed and
Yeah.
she couldn't be the same friend that Erica needed, because Erica needed a stronger friend. She needed
Yes.
someone more mature. And
Yes.
Zaska, I think, helped Jordan get to that. What do you think?
I think so. I think so. And the thing that was also interesting in book two, as opposed to book one, in book one, Erica is this needy, depressed woman. She has suffered so much while Jordan's been away, and it's not Jordan's fault, but
Mm-mm.
she wasn't able to be there for her like she had been. And
Right.
so I think that also kind of contrasts the earth dynamic, if you will, kind of like, even though everything Erica goes through is serious and it's real, it's also kind of first world problems compared to life on Algoran, because you know she Erica could have gotten help numerous steps along the way on Earth, but she chose to handle things the way that she chose to handle things, and
Yeah.
that led her to her decision to follow after Jordan. There's a million other logical things that Erica could have chosen to do to deal with her life. Instead, almost like kind of a nod to the genre, she chose fantasy.
Right.
She chose to go to another world instead of deal with her problems on Earth. Whereas Jordan would have loved to just have been on Earth and deal with such problems, but she got yanked away to this other world and had no choice in the matter. So again, there's these dynamics going on between the characters and their different perspectives. And it was fun to bring that out. It was interesting to bring that out because, as you see, and not going into too much spoiler, but Erica becomes a very different person in book two.
Yeah.
You know,
But I actually think the changes that happened to Erica actually saved her, because Erica had to deal with her own failures as a person,
yes.
and then to be reinvigorated in a very unique way is
Mm-hmm.
what helped her on her path of maturity. And I liked, it was almost like you threw it in, not haphazardly, but it's kind of like the same thing happened. See, when Jordan was taken out of her environment,
Yeah.
Erica chose to go there. So a lot
Mhm.
of things that happen to us is almost as if you're saying, you, in a way, and I'm very hesitant to use this a lot because people say, well, you made that choice, you're the God of your destiny, all that kind of stuff. It's not that.
Yeah.
But your
No.
choices do lead to a certain path that you go. I do believe in
Yeah.
self-determination. Like, we do make choices for ourselves, and we do have to live with the consequences or
Mhm.
reward of those choices. And that
Right.
was one thing you kind of reiterated with Erica. What do you say?
Yes, I would say so because Erica Erica became unintentionally, she kind of became more like Jordan in the second book because she had to.
Mm-hmm.
She was basically not in control of her life at all once she made that jump to another world. She'd actually lost control of her life for a period of time and was being affected by these other people and stuff like that. And then she chose to stand up for herself. And that's when things started changing for her.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think with Erica, you just added that really unique dynamic to it, because in Erica, she finds herself she doesn't realize it at first, but she's being manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, again, because she made the decision without really thinking it through,
Mm-hmm.
then people can take advantage of that. That's why you have to be so prayerful, just in general, in life general, be prayerful about the decisions that you make.
Right.
So I really enjoyed Jordan's Arrow. There's so much to this story. I don't want to spoil it for anybody,
Mhm.
but I would love to just, get some more of your thoughts. Because when it comes to Jordan's Arrow, there's a dynamic to Jordan that I really love. And that dynamic is how you effectively balance the fact that she's a woman, she's a mother, she's a wife, she's a
Mhm.
leader. She's got to she's got to marry the people. She's got to do this. And she's doing all these things.
Mhm.
But all of that doesn't make her who she is. She's
Right.
more comfortable when she has someone who loves her. And
Right.
that is in her mate, Bopal. That's in
Mhm.
her mate, Bopal. And we talked about it a little bit on the show.
Mhm.
But another thing I liked about Bopal is that he knew when to get rid of his kids. When he wanted a moment with his wife,
Yeah.
he's like, hey, you want to play the drums, huh? This is
Right.
exactly what happened. He was carrying her and he goes, want to play drums, huh? He's like, yeah, have you played with your friend down the street? He's like, no, go play with your friend. I mean,
Right.
I like that he was covetous of their personal time. And
Yes,
I think that was, you didn't really talk about it, but I think you showed how couples need personal time.
they do. They
You
do.
know,
It's sort of like, and I'm sure you can relate to this. you know, you got to have date night sometime with your spouse. You know,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
just time for you and them, and it's special, and you want to make them feel special. They want to make you feel special, and that cultivates your relationship. That keeps it growing. Whereas, you know, when people get tied down into such routine, or, you know, you got to make it work, and really in a Christian marriage you got to lean on the Lord to show you how to make it work. But it takes two people to make a marriage work, and then it takes that tie, that spiritual tie, to really bring it all together. And you know, I wanted to at least show with Jordan and Bo Paul, just that they have this love, they have this understanding and respect. And even though Jordan's not a Christian, she does acknowledge God, and she is trying her best to find out what direction it is that God's trying to lead her. And he respects that. He doesn't understand it, but he respects that. And that was really interesting to bring out too.
There's so much to that, and you actually explore several married couples in this series, and
Mhm.
that's what makes the interesting dynamic. And all of them were jealous of their private time together.
Mhm.
All of them were, and I like that. That was one aspect I like, that even though, you know, war is going on, sickness is going on, strange things are happening,
Yep,
people are trying to kill me, we got to have our time, baby.
that's right.
We gotta have our time. I love that. That was, because I like the romance. You're a little more romantic in this one. Not
Mhm.
quite. I mean, you had that romantic element, and you know, I'm a romance novelist
Mhm.
anyway, so you know, we
Yeah.
won't complain there at all. You know. So, Alan, thank you so much for this. First time we're doing this after show here. For those of you listening, you can follow Alan online. Alan, go ahead and give us those social media outlets one more time.
Sure. So my website is allensteadham.com, ALLENSTEADHAM.com. And then I'm on Facebook. My author page is JA Spec Fiction. So that's JASPEC Fiction. And then on Twitter, I'm Mindfire Novel. That's all one word, Mindfire Novel. And then on Instagram, it's just Alan Steadham, all one word, ALLENSTEADHAM.
So I have to tell them, and this is again behind the scenes here. So I kept messing up Alan's last name, and then I messed up his first name, and I'm sitting there going, I was so giddy though. I can honestly say I was just so giddy. I couldn't get anything right. But so Alan's name is Steadham. It is not Stedman. Okay. I kept saying that. And actually it was so funny because during the break, Alan's like, my name's Steadham. Like, you know, we got to draw the line here somewhere, Parker. And then I called him Adam, and I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with me? It was funny, but we had a great time, Alan. Cannot wait for the third book. The
Yep.
third book is called
Jordan's Deliverance.
uh, just read. When you read Jordan's World and Jordan's Arrow, you cannot wait for Jordan's Deliverance. I'm so tempted to go through the screen and just go on your computer and get it, because it left me hanging in a aching way.
Mm.
It just had me ache, like, oh gosh, I gotta wait till the book comes out. But you know, let's talk about Ambassador real quickly before we go. Ambassador International, I met them when I had my very first Amish author on the show.
Mhm.
And they had asked me to do an endorsement of one of her books, and one of the author's books. I was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. And so that's when I met Ambassador International. And
Mhm.
since then, I've got an opportunity to work with a lot of their authors, which I'm very grateful for. But they really have expanded their
Mhm.
catalog.
Yeah.
Talk about that, just from what you know, without, you know,
Yeah.
breaking confidences or anything like that. You
No,
know.
no, no, no. I mean, it's perfectly fine. I mean, there's, you know, there's a lot of the traditional, that they have a lot of devotional and nonfiction stuff, but they have romances, but they also have mysteries, and they have thrillers, and more recently they've gone into more of the speculative fiction, with the science fiction and the fantasy and various categories. There's different subgenres of fantasy as well, and they're open to even more, because one of the things I'm going to be doing in the future is going to be, you know, a steampunk series. And so, it's a whole new world, and I think they're just adapting to reach people, for the gospel, and that's what they're about. And so, through the written word, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, they're just trying to, to expand, to meet new audiences, to share the good news.
And I think that is a wonderful way to end this after show. Thank you so much, Alan, for being with me. Make sure you go to his website. It's on the crawler below. And I also showed you his Twitter. I had the wrong Twitter earlier, so it is Mindfire Novel at Twitter. And his address is at the bottom. Again, if you want to join us for Patreon, support this ministry, what we're doing, we showcase Christian authors all over the world. Have been doing it now almost 7 years. I want to say July 3rd, or as a second, will be my actual anniversary, but we always celebrate the first Tuesday in July. 7 years showcasing Christian authors around the world. If you want to support, you certainly can by becoming a Quill member, $3 a month. And we really appreciate any support. But what we really want, Alan, you agree with me, we really want your prayers. I am
Yes,
covetous for your
absolutely.
prayers. Your prayers are more powerful than any money you can give. But hey, if you want to support the show, feel free to do that. All right, Alan, thank you for being with me. To all of you guys out there, thank you so much for joining for this after show. We'll see you next week. Bye. I think it stopped. I'm not sure. Hold on. I'm trying to... Next thing you know, this part's on the on the live part here. So let's see. It'll be fine. We're learning too.
Yeah.
The little thing keeps going. I don't know.